An old hermit refuses to help a girl because he's busy milking sea cows, while a slow-motion car chase in space happens, and a guy gets killed by his own chair-turning skills.
Milking sea cows.
That's correct. Welcome, foolish mortals, to Grim Grinning Dads, the show where three Disney-obsessed dads share travel tips, hot takes, and a whole lot more. I'm Jedi Master Charlie, that's Darth Tyler, and his grandson, Kylo Caleb. Strap into the cockpit and prepare for a deep dive into episodes 7 through 9 as we break down the characters, the controversies, and the closing chapters of the Skywalker saga. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow, comment, and listen on any or all of the places podcasts live, and we would really appreciate it. All right, guys, so I figured we'd start off with it because that was the fun way to do it.
Yeah, Kylo Caleb has a great ring to it.
It does have a great ring to it, but oh my goodness.
It worked. It worked for me.
That's hilarious.
When I was writing up my notes, I was like, it's Kylo Caleb.
He's the one I dislike the most.
I know. Which is what makes it good.
Here we go.
All right. So I figured we could start off with segment 1, where we're going to talk about how Ed Sheeran, Matt Smith, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Dominic Monaghan and their significant contribution to the Star Wars canon.
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Spoilers. They had none. They played stormtroopers and background characters.
It's true.
That was it. So what we're going to actually do with this episode is we're going to do our roundtable discussion where we go through the final 3 episodes of Star Wars, going from 7 through 9. We're going to start off with Tyler, then Caleb will rebut, and I will pick up the pieces at the end of any of these discussions that we have. At the end of this episode, we're going to go through and rank all 11 Star Wars movies from 11 to 1. In a roundtable fashion as well. So let's get started with The Force Awakens. Tyler.
Guys, this movie rules. It's so good. And I can't believe we just passed the 10-year anniversary of it like that.
Has it really been 10 years?
It was 10 years like a week and a half ago.
Wow.
And that takes me back to a very specific time. So, I mean, just a quick story. I mean, I remember going with this very select group of friends to that first showing, and as soon as the crawl comes up, like I'm in tears because Star Wars was back, and I was so confident they would land it, and they absolutely did. I saw this movie 6 times in theaters, and no regrets. It's awesome. But why it works is because it understands the feel of Star Wars without wanting to do too much with lore. It's all about getting the fans back on board because there was a lot of mistrust after the prequels. So this was getting everybody right back on board with Star Wars. And even the first line spoken in the movie is kind of a meta line. This will begin to make things right. That is speaking to the audience. And they definitely delivered. It's fast paced. It has emotion to it. And it's character driven. All things that the prequels were not. With those characters, just a couple quick notes. Rey is instantly likable. She's defined by curiosity, and she's super competent. And you get a really good feel for her day-to-day and why she has the skills that she has. And her mystery works because it's not the point of the story yet. Finn is a really great, fresh perspective. We've never seen a defecting stormtrooper and kind of what that looks like from inside the Empire or the First Order. So I really, really like that. Poe is super charismatic. You understand him right away. And then that dynamic that Poe and Finn have almost immediately works super, super well. But the backbone of this movie is Kylo Ren. He's the most important success of the movie. He is emotional. He's unstable. He's conflicted, which that makes him even more dangerous. And having a villain who's not fully formed was a really, really smart choice, in my opinion, because he's not just another Vader, even though he wants to be. That gives him room to grow throughout the movies, and we can debate how well he did or didn't do that. But in this movie alone, I think he's super compelling. I think they handled the legacy characters pretty well. Han Solo feels like Han Solo. Leia feels very grounded. and you feel Luke's absence throughout because, I mean, he is kind of the, MacGuffin of the story is that they're, driving to get to Luke. And I feel like when they got there, the payoff was very good and it leaves you wanting more at the end. It's not necessarily a cliffhanger, but the anticipation of what's next is really there. So big take on this movie. It saved the franchise. It showed Disney that this is still a viable franchise in the right hands with good writers, good directors. They can still knock it out of the park. I love this movie. So, Caleb, let's hear the rebuttal.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Okay. So The Force Awakens. I agree. It feels like Star Wars again, because the last thing that we saw was Episode 3 when it came to new movies. But like this one was, it was like we're back in the Star Wars universe. It wasn't like this tale from long time ago. It was like this is something that, while it is still long time ago, it is fresh. It's refreshing. The introduction of Rey was cool. Like, who is this person? Why are we like on a junkyard? Like all of this stuff, right? It was super cool. It was instantly appealing. I love the stormtrooper idea with Finn, and what happened there was awesome. It would have been even cooler if Finn continued to be the main guy, but that's a whole other thing. We'll get to that later. Kylo Ren is incredible through this movie, and I really appreciate Han Solo. Out of all of it, Han Solo coming back in, and I thought about this after you had talked about how Han Solo was more of like the avatar for the audience. He was kind of the same thing in this, is that he was the avatar for the audience of like, no, like, remember these, like, I was there. Like, it was still that, which was really cool. And like everybody in the audience connected to him was like, yes, the Jedi, the Force. It's a real thing.
Yeah. When he says, it was the line in the trailer, so like you knew it was in there, but like when he says it's real, all of it, like you feel the weight of that.
Right. Yeah, it's huge.
That's, all of those years of experience, and he's now passing that on. It's incredible.
Incredible moment. Incredible character. All right, now the things I don't like. It's just a new hope on a new budget and a bigger budget. Like, you just retold the same story essentially. I mean, even as far down to like Star Killer Base is just the Death Star with a gym membership. Like, it just got big. It got swole. Okay. Finn gets sidelined into the comic relief that apparently we need. I don't know why. And then man, I don't understand how Rey jumps so stinking fast from knowing nothing of the Force to wielding her lightsaber and like defeating this trained, wild, emotional, and like super angst like dude, but like he's trained and she's not, and she just like kicks his butt. I don't get it. Like, how does that happen? Now, in watching back and watching her fighting style, it's so obvious who she is now that I know. And I'm like, okay. But none of that makes any sense. Like, I don't understand how Rey gets to jump all the way from knowing absolutely nothing to having a semi understanding of what this does and how to do it. I don't get that. I don't get it at all.
My take on it, when without knowing where it goes in 9, my take on it at the time was she has a concept of what the Jedi and what the Force is, because like she even refers to Luke Skywalker. I thought he was a myth. So like there are stories, there are concepts of what these characters can do, and she just has to tap into it. So sure. I think she knows what the abilities are. She gets there quickly. I will give you that. And as far as the structure of the story, I think it echoes A New Hope, but I think it's a little bit reductive to say that it's just A New Hope remade, because I think there's a lot of things that are different. While it has a similar structure,
there's no trash compactor.
Yes, they do mention one at the end, though.
They do. Joke. Yes, it was really funny,
and Han seems really excited about it. But I think the way they structured this movie and having some of those beats is just to kind of bring the audience along in a familiar way while also introducing some things that are new, like Finn running away from the First Order, Kylo Ren being a different kind of villain. It's not just, the rebellion and the Empire. It's not the same thing, even though there are some beats that are similar. I think it was just all to rebuild trust with the audience and say, this is in good hands, and see where we take this.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair. And they did it well. Like, I don't dislike this movie at all. In fact, like when I had to think about like the things that I didn't like about this movie, it's all the things that everybody says, right? Like everybody says, oh, it's just A New Hope all over again. Like, well, honestly, like Han Solo getting like that ticked me off, like beyond measure ticked me off.
Hey, he's in the background right now.
He
was on your TV right a second ago.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But like that's the part that like really like that frustrated me. Oh yeah, look, there he is. He's right there.
Hey, you're playing the number one right there.
I'm playing whatever one popped up first when I typed in star. But yeah, like man, it did set up a great potential for the new trilogy. And that's what I love the most about it, is that it was a great starting point to bring us back into this world of Star Wars, of where are we going to go next. And it did a very good job of that. Regardless of what anybody says, it does a really good job of that. Charlie.
Yeah. I would kind of agree with kind of both of your points. I don't think that it rehashing some of the things that were good about the original is such a bad thing. I do think that they were, trying to pull up some nostalgia, which is okay, because the audience had been looking for that, because we were, right. They were out with torches and pitchforks after the episode 1, 2, and 3, and so angry about like the Star Wars fandom is just so angry about everything, for whatever reason. It's because maybe it's because they created a world that we all loved so much, or still continue to love, and we just, I don't know, we have this kind of vision for what we think it should be, and I think that they kind of nailed it with what happened here. I really enjoyed this movie. I really thought that the whole Stormtrooper thing was super awesome. Rey's lineage, not knowing all of that stuff here. I also don't believe that they knew what they were going to do in episode 9 when they wrote this one. I think that they unfortunately did not do the thing that the MCU did, where they were like, oh, we can plan out all 3 of these movies and have an actual arc for this. And when we get to episode 9, I think we'll discuss that a little bit. Let's see. I'm just looking at my notes super quickly. Yep, Tyler touched on that one. So I definitely did think and feel that the Han Solo sacrifice didn't need to happen in this movie.
Right.
It had to happen somewhere, but it is so far removed from the inevitable redemption that ends up happening, or like we feel like right away that Kylo's on a path to redemption, even after murdering his dad and watching him fall down a hole. But it's a long process to get there from the murder. Like usually like that kind of thing is like, oh God, what have I done? But instead, the murder happens, and then we have 2.5, like 4 hours or so more of movie before we get to the inevitable like growth that he has with that. And I'm not sure, was Chewie's reaction big enough? Like he was really angry, but I feel like he should have been tearing people's arms off and like just like going ham. Like that didn't feel big enough to me.
Chewie should have jumped down there and chased after him. Right?
Like that's kind of what I felt like. Shooting his crossbow from across the room didn't quite feel like it was enough to me. Like that was, sure, he was angry, but like there's definitely a lot more. We know that if you play Sabacc with him, or what's Force Chess called? The Force Chess.
The Jarek.
Yeah. If you play that with him, You gotta let him win because he will tear your arms off.
He will tear you right over a game, and then he loses
over a game.
His best friend.
Yeah,
and he just like
yep,
climbs a ladder.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Yep, he just continues. He just continues on.
Well, and this is not me. Not necessarily my personal opinion or like making excuses for the movie, but if I had to guess what the writers would say is that he's probably thinking of the ticking clock, because they just finished charging the weapon, and so while yes, that's a huge moment, I think he's probably also conscious of like, we have to get out of here.
Yeah, there he is. He was over Caleb's shoulder.
I'm not saying that's my opinion. I'm just saying, like, from a writer's perspective, that's probably what they think. But I do agree. It deserved a bigger reaction because he had a bigger reaction in 9 after Leia, so.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, much bigger. Much freaking bigger. And whatever. It's just fine. All in all, great movie. Great movie.
Yep, I agree. So we don't have anything to rank it against right now. So we'll jump right in to The Last Jedi, arguably the best Star Wars movie ever made. Sorry.
You could make that argument. I won't be making that argument.
Okay.
But I am going to stand up for this movie.
No.
Because I really like most of it. I think it's the boldest film in this trilogy, and it might be the boldest film of the whole series, because it takes a lot of chances, and it makes us question the mythology in a way that we've never had to before. And I think it asks some really important questions. Who gets to be a hero, and what happens when we see our heroes fail? And to talk about Luke, because I'm sure that's the biggest, controversy. He's super controversial, but he's coherent. This is a Luke who has tried and failed, and he wasn't able to forgive himself for what happened. But that leads him on this huge arc, and we see a lot of growth in him because of where he starts. I think a lot of people that complain, and I'm not saying this is you, Caleb, I can't wait to hear what you say, but I think a lot of people just wanted Luke to be the exact same character he was at the end of Jedi, and that shows no growth. Like, nothing would have happened in the 30 years in between. Like, obviously he's on this island by himself for a reason. Something had to go down to send him away and have him hide away from people who really need his help. And I was very interested to see what that was, and I think they did a pretty good job. Now, is it what I would have done with the character? Not necessarily, but I think when you bring on somebody like Rian Johnson to write and direct, you're going to get some things like this. I don't know if you guys have seen it, all of the Knives Out movies, but this is kind of his cup of tea, is just kind of subverting those expectations. And you can debate how effective it was, but I thought if you're going to do that with Luke, I thought it was handled pretty well. Rey and Kylo, I think, are still the backbone of this movie. Their connection is super emotional. Kylo, I think this is his most interesting movie, like from a character point of view. He gets rejected immediately by Snoke, and we see how he kind of lashes out because of that. And then the throne room scene is like peak. It's up there with some of the best stuff in Empire and A New Hope for me. It's visually very interesting. And then the twist that happens after the fight is over, where you think he's turned and now they're going to be on the same side. Not so much. Just another twist back in a way. I thought was super clever. Where I will say this movie struggled is the entire B plot. Finn and Rose going to Canto Bight felt like something out of the prequels. You could cut that out entirely, because at the end of that plot, it served zero purpose. They failed at every step of the way and didn't actually impact the story at all by going through that arc. But I guess they just had to have something to do away from the other rebels that are just trying to outrun the First Order. And then the other thing I would complain about, Admiral Holdo, Laura Dern's character, there is no reason she cannot explain to Poe what the plan is, other than it creates tension in the movie. Yeah. Like, he's there with her, he can't go anywhere. Why not just tell him? He's your best pilot. He commands a whole squadron. So you have to know as that admiral, like there are people that are going to listen to him over you in that situation. Just tell them the plan. Like it can't be that difficult. Like, hey, we're going to have these cloaked transports that go down to this planet and they're not going to have any idea that we snuck out. It would have taken 10 seconds. But that couldn't happen because it had to create tension between those two characters. But at the end of the day, Luke's final act is just like pure Star Wars. It echoes back to how he ended in Return of the Jedi, winning through nonviolence. It inspires the movement and continues the momentum. Now, we'll get into 9, where it didn't necessarily continue that momentum even more. But I thought the last act of this was like pure awesome. So that's what I got. Caleb, bring it on.
You know, Star Wars The Last Jedi should have really been called Star Wars The Slowest Space Chase in History. Like the fastest ships in the galaxy going 12 miles per hour. Like it was horrible. That's the entire story. And it's just not good at all. But there are some things I loved. For one, John Williams' music is amazing in this movie. Like he did absolutely phenomenally, knocked it out of the park, as he does. Yoda's failure lesson is solid on paper. In practicality, I don't know. And like the throne room, super, super cool. Like that fight scene is well done, keeps everything going. However, I have things to nitpick about it, but I won't get into that today. But overall, it's good. It's really good. Now I have a list of things from eye roll to table flip. Okay. Things that I just can't stand about this movie. Like the first one, a yo mama joke in Star Wars. Come on. Like, not funny. Why?
I will agree that most of the attempts at humor did not land.
So bad.
And it goes against like the rest of the tone of the movie. Mm-hmm. So Rian Johnson, I think, is a very good writer.
Can I get a hold of General Hux, please?
Well, no, the first couple of times he keeps saying hugs and not Hux. So just like little things like that, like it, and that's right at the beginning. So I think like at that point we don't really know what the tone is, but then it's contrasted with so much serious stuff later on that. And then the later attempts at humor, they don't really land. I don't think writing jokes is his strong suit, but yeah, so I'll give you that one.
Luke tossing his lightsaber, like,
makes
come
sense.
on. No, it does not make any sense at all. Like, he totally throws away the entirety of the Jedi when he does that. Like, it just, why would you do that?
Because that's where he's at emotionally at that time.
He's
he
like,
wants nothing to do with it.
He's literally flipping the table and going, no, we're done. We're done with this. No more Jedi.
But even Mark Hamill says that's not like what Luke would have done.
Okay. And that's fair. Like I said, it's probably not, if I was writing that, it's probably not what I would have had him do. But I think since he's on that island, I think you kind of have to justify why he's there and give him like emotional reasons and a way to explain without saying anything what he thinks about the whole resistance and Jedi Order and all that. Like, I think it illustrated a really good point.
But him being on that island also made him a lover of green milk, and like that's eye roll worthy as well. And we didn't need any of that in this movie. Nobody asked for it at all. Nobody needed that.
I wrote a letter to George Lucas saying we need different colored milk, please.
It's like,
I mean, why do you guys think we have both blue and green in Galaxy's Edge?
Because people argued about what color it was. I don't know. And then Poe gets demoted for winning. Like he got demoted.
Well, but
for winning.
It wasn't really a win. And Leia's point was that it took out all of their bombers, and how many like good soldiers and pilots died just for that like very, very minor win that didn't really gain them much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but also he won. So he won.
Yeah. But then immediately when they're under threat, it's like, okay, can I go jump in an X-Wing and blow stuff up? Like, of course, like the demotion doesn't really mean anything because at the end of the day, they're going to need him to do what he does best.
Yeah. Yeah. The slow speed of the space chase is ridiculous. And like somehow they're running out of fuel. Like, Why has this never been a thing ever before in Star Wars that we've ever seen ever in a movie? Like, and now we're just like, we're running out of gas. Like,
well, because they keep jumping to light speed over and over again.
Well, yeah, that was and because the First Order can do the light speed tracking, they don't have any way to escape and refuel. So I think, while I agree, they never mentioned it before,
annoying,
but in the story, it does make sense because there's literally no escape. Like they say, like they're tied on the end of a string. And while it's a slow chase that doesn't really add a whole lot to the story, but it's also not the main plot of the movie. So I can almost forgive some of that because
it feels like the main plot of the whole movie. Because it is the majority
but it
of the movie.
Like, it does take a lot of the movie. Yep.
It takes a lot of the movie, but I think that the main focus is the Rey and Luke stuff, and then when she decides to leave and then go seek out Kylo, like that's the main plot. The other stuff was clearly, I think, an afterthought compared to the main story.
Yeah. Still pointless. Snoke dies way too fast. Like, apparently, like he was this great, big, unbelievable force in Force Awakens, and then he's taken out by some parlor trick in the throne room. Like, weird.
Well, because he's so arrogant that like all the things that he senses are correct, but not in the way that he thinks. So I really enjoy that because like the speech, I don't remember it word for word, but like, where there was conflict, I now sense resolve. And like, that's true. It's just not resolve in the way that he's wanting it to be. So I did appreciate that.
No. it's so bad.
Okay.
It's so
we
bad.
can just we can disagree. That's totally fine.
Or like when Rey overpowers Luke, like that's not like, it's Luke. There's no way in this world that Luke would get overpowered by Rey unless.
But on that world,
stop it.
On Octo.
No, the only reason why he would be overthrown and overpowered by Rey is because he just doesn't care. And that just brings me back to the whole thing of like, that's not Luke. Luke would have cared. And if that's how the writers wanted to write it, they wrote wrong.
Well, I think saying like,
also,
I think they could have emphasized more that he was cut off from the Force. And the only time they really talk about that is when he's like, where's Han? It's like, oh, he has no idea.
Right.
So I think that could be somewhat forgiven because he's been so cut off from the Force, and Rey is the opposite. Like she's gaining, more and more knowledge and strength every day. And I think he's caught off guard when she basically attacks him. So I see your point, but I also think like in the context of this story, I can understand it.
But, when Kylo, before he was Kylo, was Ben, and Luke attacked him and was going to kill him, like, also, not Luke. Like, he would have never done that.
He was considering it, and then
considering it
when it was about to stop.
With a lightsaber.
Standing over him while he's sleeping with his lightsaber on.
But he was, I think he was like, if
that's considering,
I watched this yesterday. Well, I watched this yesterday because he I think he was choosing not to, but then he woke him up, and then he had to attack. I think he was going to not attack him at that point.
We see 3 different versions of this memory. And that's the one thing, like if I could go and add more, I would add a lot more context around what did Luke see in Ben's mind that made him get to that point. Because I think they say, like, I see the darkness rising in him. Okay, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
And like sort of, I would have liked a longer flashback and like teasing, like, how is Snoke influencing Ben while he's at the Jedi Academy? I think that would have been a good, like, a quick couple minute scene just to give us a little more context. Because just saying it, and then they show, there's Luke's original version of it, there's Kylo's version of it, and the truth is kind of in the middle where, yes, he had the lightsaber ignited, but he wasn't about to take a swing. He looked like he was full of regret, and then Ben wakes up and then attacks back. So,
as you do when you're being threatened. Like,
yeah, no, totally. And I'm not saying Luke was in the right. I'm just saying I like how they approached us with different versions of it. I just would have wanted more context around what got him to that point.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, like, and this is where I do extend grace to it, is that they only have so much time in a movie, right? They're not ambitious.
They had plenty of time to go to Canto Bight, cut some of that crap out.
Yeah, no
Right?
fake.
Seriously.
That one is beyond table flip for me, because like that just doesn't matter. Like that whole story arc doesn't matter.
Well, the only thing, the only payoff is Broom Boy at the very end.
Right. I was gonna say, like, the only thing is the horsey thingies at the end, and like that's cool.
Yeah.
But I have two more, and these are my table flips. One, Rey's parents are nobodies. Like, we spent all this time in Force Awakens, like, oh man, who's Rey's parents? Like, they just left her on this godforsaken planet. Like, who are they? Are they looking for her, or are they dead now? Right? And then we get to the Last Jedi, and your parents are nobody. They're nobodies. So then, what was the whole point of that?
Well, I think the point is to say that anyone can be a hero, and it's not about your bloodline.
Yep.
And that the Force can reside in anyone. Now, that was pretty much completely undone in the next movie.
Right.
But for this movie, I think it's a great lesson. And I actually, at the time, really, really liked that. Because when it's all about what family you come from, the universe is super small. So it's like, if you're not part of these like 2 or 3 families,
right,
then you don't matter. And that's one of the biggest mistakes in Rise of Skywalker, but we'll get there in a minute. But I thought it was a brave choice, and I think, and it's illustrated by, again, the broom boy at the end. Like, you see how he picks up the broom. It's like, okay, like there is untapped potential all over the galaxy, and they could go any one of a million directions, and they went backwards.
But like and that's the cool thing about Broom Boy at the end, right? Because he is a nobody. Absolutely nobody at the end of that whole,
as far as we know.
Right.
They could retcon that and be like, he was a secret Kenobi.
He's a Kenobi.
I mean, like, Kenobi did have some relationships.
He's a kid from Count Dooku. Like, he's a Qui-Gon Jinn offspring. Like, nah,
I mean,
stop it.
I mean, sure. Qui-Gon was all over the place.
Right. But this is the one that sets me over the edge the most, and it's Leia freaking Poppins.
Yes. Yep.
No explanation. I'm
Leia Poppins, y'all.
No rules. Just Leia freaking Poppins. Like, what? Ain't nobody ever done that. Ever. And you're just going to be like, it's like breathing. What? No.
Dude.
It's so stinking bad, and it should have just not been in there. Like that would have been a great way for Leia to just exit the entire thing, because like she goes on to die anyway in real life. Like, what? Like, but I get it. They wanted to send her off properly, and they want to do that in an honorable way. But like, who in that writer's room said, like, you know, let's pretend her lightsaber is like an umbrella.
Well, she didn't have her lightsaber.
I know, but like, now take it away and pretend there's an umbrella, and just have her float through space still alive, because that's what happens when you're a Jedi.
I don't really have any defense for that. I didn't love that.
I'll defend
I
it.
think that okay. All right. We'll get to Charlie. I don't think that was a great choice. But you know,
I literally threw my popcorn in the movie theater when I saw that. I literally threw it.
And when you say writer's room, that writer's room was one guy. It was just Rian Johnson.
He didn't have input from other people. Nope.
Just so everybody knows, when it's just you in the room, you're gonna think all your ideas are great.
They are.
And that
They're
is
the best
proof
ideas ever.
that all your ideas are not great. Talk to people. God, even George Lucas would have been like, "You sure you want to do that? You remember what I did with Jar Jar?
I don't
sure
think
you want to do that?"
I don't think George would have cared.
I bet he would have. I bet he would have been like,
he would have been like, she's more. Yeah, well, I think that Leia was. I mean, Leia had the same blood in her as Luke, and we didn't know it at this point, but she had already been training, and doing a lot of training. So I don't know. I think. I mean, power wise, sure. It's okay. we're dealing with an entire universe that has space magic and wizards and lightsaber sword things.
Magic sword.
She of course should be able to do some things that maybe just don't work in real life. You know, she was powerful. She was as powerful as Luke, and she had been trained by Luke.
Never mind.
Yeah, I just wish they had established that, because
Well,
the
don't say it.
the only hint of any like Force ability we get with her is like sensing things like other people through the Force, but not necessarily like actual ability.
Yeah, like how she knew Luke was her brother the whole time.
And she still kissed him.
And she still kissed him.
I think there could be one scene where it shows that she has some other abilities, and then it's still a stretch, but then you can at least be like, okay, like we saw that she had some skills already.
Right. We didn't get any of that in this movie. I mean, we did get we get it later, and we do know that she was able to do some things, and like I mean, she knocked Luke over at one point while they were training, and she definitely had some power, but like they didn't show us that here.
Right.
So her being able to do it, sure, it's a stretch, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I flipped my lid over it. I thought it was okay. I wanted Leia to be a better character than what they like. She wasn't necessarily the damsel in distress that she was in the original trilogy. I mean, she becomes a more powerful character in these last three movies, and not even just a Force character, but like a character in general, because she is a general at that point. But as far as my opinion on this movie, I do agree. I think that the light speed jumping around, they could have probably cut. There was 40 minutes of this movie that they could have cut. Now it's not the 40 minutes at the end, because there was a point where I was like, oh, okay, the movie could end right here, and then they did 40 more minutes of stuff, which was awesome stuff, but it could have ended 40 minutes before that. And I remember thinking as I was watching, and I'm like, wow, there's still. I looked down, I'm like, there's still 40 minutes left in this movie right now. And I've never had that happen to me in a Star Wars movie. So that wasn't great. I don't love the fact that that doesn't really feel cohesive in terms of the way that it ties. Like it just retcons a lot of the stuff from the first movie here. I think that let's see. The only things that really tie it together are like Rey and Kylo's like backstory, and that kind of stuff. And then, having Luke in there, of course, that's great. It gave Mark Hamill an excuse to get in shape. But and to drink some weird milk. I mean, that was surely a thing that he wanted to do. I'm sure he's the one who came up with that idea. I thought that the Jedi texts being burned at that tree was kind of cool, because as I was watching it, it looked like the Alliance symbol. I don't know if did you guys catch that? Like I was watching, I was like, whoa, okay, wait, that's way too close to the Alliance symbol for them not to have done that on purpose. Like it was just, all of that. But
even that was subverting expectations, because they weren't actually burned.
No, of course not.
Right.
Why would they be?
And Yoda even says it. We just don't really catch it or don't know it in the moment. But he says the girl Rey has everything she needs.
Yep. Luke says that. Luke says that in the next movie as well, which is hilarious. Are we gonna not talk about the fact that Luke did instead of jumping in his X-wing, which we know after the episode 9 was there and going to the location where they are, he decides I'm gonna sit here and I'm going to levitate, and I'm going to force project myself over a massive distance to the point where I can fool Kylo Ren, who can sense people, and I'm going to fight him and make everybody freak out so that they can escape. And then I'm going to die of Force exhaustion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they did telegraph that he wasn't really there. Like there were signs.
Oh, for sure.
He was in his all black
footprints.
Yeah,
right?
His hair was a different color, his beard was shorter, and he doesn't make any like footsteps in the salt when he's out there. Like, so, I mean, I remember thinking like when you first see him walk into that room, it's like, why is his hair different? And so it didn't sit right with me. And then like once you figure it out, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, because if he goes there in person, he just gets killed, right? Like I think that's the idea.
Immediately gets killed.
And I think that's why he does it. Like he knows that. And they even like there's a line that like sort of references it earlier is like, do you expect me to go and face down the whole First Order? It's like, well, that's kind of what he does, just not in the way that we expect.
Which does make it work, but it also feels so, I don't know, it feels hollow. I think a lot of the moments in this movie feel hollow to me. I think there are some cool things. I think that Snoke's death, like removing that like emperor figure early in the movie is definitely not a bad thing. I think that was a cool scene. Just watching it back yesterday, just seeing that, it's just like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then they fight the red stormtrooper guys, who seem like they should be more powerful. What Praetorian guards? Yeah, they seem like they should be more powerful than they are, but they're totally not. For whatever reason, it's again, it's an arrogance thing for sure. That we're seeing here, and I mean, it's definitely the most debated film in the saga. I don't think that either one of you are going to vastly disagree with each other on this last movie. But one hot take. Yeah.
Before we move on to that, I do want to echo, because I just pulled it up because I just thought this. I did really enjoy Luke's quote to Kylo Ren right before he strikes Luke down, and how it echoes what Obi-Wan said to Vader in A New Hope. I do.
Oh, they're like, strike me down and I'll always be with you.
I'll always be with you, just like your father.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan was like, strike me down and I'll become more powerful. Like, like that echo, that actually gives me chills. Like thinking about that is like
that speech.
That's so good.
Yeah, that whole speech that he has to Kylo, like the rebellion is reborn today.
Right.
And like where it ends with like, and I won't be the last Jedi, and then like cut to Rey like clearing all those the rocks, like that so is good. Super well done. So like that is like that's a chills kind of moment.
Right. That was done with great expertise. It was the most beautiful part of that entire movie. You can literally just do that and like boom, movie's over. Yeah. We don't need anything else. It was so good. So sorry.
And I think to echo your point about Rey all of a sudden just like becoming incredibly powerful. I mean, we could have seen some more training or something that like let us know that she was gonna Luke,
be
more powerful.
Why didn't we see you as a backpack on the back of Rey?
Absolutely, that would have been awesome.
Yoda was your backpack. Why can't we have you as a backpack? Come on.
That would have been
You're an old
very
man
cool.
now. It would have been hilarious. That would have been comedy done right. Because it would have been an echo back and it would have been hilarious. And everybody would have loved it. They would have been like, backpack Luke. It would have been so funny. I'm all in.
So that leads us into Rise of Skywalker, which is the final movie in the Skywalker saga.
And she's now a Skywalker.
For now. I mean, sure. She doesn't have a last name, so she gives herself one.
She has
just like Han Solo. His last name wasn't Solo, but he got named Han Solo. So she was like, I'm Rey Skywalker, bitch.
She's got a last name.
What is
it? It's not Skywalker.
What is it then?
Palpatine.
Exactly.
Oh, Tyler, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So this movie, I mean, there's no two ways about it. Like, it's a mess. It's really a lesson in course correction. The major plots, like it almost feels like it's moving so fast that it doesn't have time to really explain anything. And I kind of think it was done on purpose. It's moving so fast so they can't explain anything. So like, don't think about it. We're just moving forward. And it does way too much.
That's so true.
I think there's a way they could have done some of these things and have it be more effective, but there's just so much happening in a relatively short time that it just feels like a mess. I will say it is a beautiful looking movie, and I think there are still some good performances in it. Like I have a lot of time for Palpatine as a character. I love his delivery. I did like the kind of, if they're going to bring him back, like having the idea that he was behind Snoke the whole time, I think is an interesting idea. But I mean, the line that sums up the whole movie is when Poe says, somehow Palpatine returned. It's like, okay, we don't really need to explain this, but just like take our word for it that it happened. It does kind of,
Good point.
It muddles Rey's arc, and I touched on this earlier, but like it was way more interesting when she didn't come from anywhere. So like having her tie into that family, it just makes the whole universe smaller and just less interesting overall. I will say Kylo is still compelling. I kind of like the idea that with Snoke out of the way, like he reconstructs the mask because he still feels like he needs that to intimidate as the new supreme leader. I enjoy that. I think that the moments between Rey and Kylo are still kind of the driving force of the movie. Yep. I really enjoy their fight scene where she's in his quarters on the ship and he's still down on Kijimi, and it's like cutting back and forth. I really like that. I do think it's interesting though, like in Last Jedi, Snoke says that he's the one that bridged their minds and was able to have them connect. Now he's out of the picture, so is it Palpatine that's still connecting their minds? Like, they don't really explain it, but it's one of those like, don't worry about it, just go with it kind of things. Yeah. I think the final act, for as messy as it is cool to see all those ships show up. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs in that fleet that shows up. You see the Ghost from Rebels, a few other ships out there as well. And the whole saga kind of ends on the idea of hope, which I think is appropriate. But the path is definitely messy. I think the movie knows how it wants us to feel, but doesn't really know how to get there in a satisfying way. Right. So I don't think it's quite as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's certainly not coherent. So, we didn't talk about where we would stack Last Jedi in this one. I have them in the order they came out: Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise.
Well, Rise of Skywalker is just a dumpster fire. They're like, it's hot and stinky. Now I will say Adam Driver does a great job of carrying this entire movie on his back.
The whole trilogy.
Yeah, let's be honest. He does a phenomenal job of saying, you know what, we're going to make it through and I'm going to carry it all on my back. And he does a great job at it.
Like, this might be terrible, but I'm going to give it my all.
Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. I was really hoping that it was going to be a similar story to that of Vader in the original trilogy, that the Rise of Skywalker was going to end up being Ben coming back and taking off, removing the Solo name and taking on Skywalker.
All right.
Like, that would have been so cool. Like, that would have been the greatest story ever told in this movie, because ultimately then he would have been like Vader. And that was the whole point, the whole stinking point of the Kylo Ren character. And it would have been incredible. It would have been so cool. And I would have been all for it. And I would have went and seen it multiple times in the theater because of that story alone. But what we got instead was an imposter. Rey is not a Skywalker at all. And she should have embraced the Palpatine name and went on to say, I'm going to change this. I'm going to be the reason for the change of this name. And the Palpatine name will not be what it was. And it would have been cool. But
I think it's too tarnished. I don't think there's any overcoming that.
Way too tarnished. 100% agree. That's like saying, I'm going to take on, and this is horrible, but I'm going to take on the last name Hitler, and I'm going to take that back. He's literally Hitler of the universe. Like,
it would have been cool.
Guy. Yes,
it would have been cool.
It would have been cool. But how? How do you redeem that last name?
I don't think you do.
I don't think you do.
I don't know. I have no idea. But it would have been cool.
Forced resurrection? Like, you just resurrect everyone that died? Be like, oh, well, we're going to wipe out all 9 movies. Everyone's alive.
Everybody's gone.
We did it. Everybody's alive. We did it. It was all a dream.
Yeah. One hot sneaky pipe dream.
Qui-Gon wakes up and is like, wow, that was a crazy dream.
That was wild.
Man, I gotta stop taking those force mushrooms.
Right. As for the things that I don't like about this movie,
wait, those were the things you liked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know. It gets worse. The somehow Palpatine returned quote was the laziest plot explanation that I've ever heard in my life. I understand. I agree with you, Tyler, that they don't really have to do anything. It's just just go with it. But it's very
I'm not
lazy.
saying they don't have to do anything. I think they owe us a better explanation.
Right. Well,
and it feels like that's what multiple seasons now of The Mandalorian are like building towards, trying to explain how this happened.
Right. So like that's sad. The movie is so fast that like it doesn't give the audience any time to breathe, or any of the people in the movie, because they all seem out of breath. Like, I'm not joking.
They're always running from one room to the next, and like they're literally running
just
everywhere.
Always out of breath, and I'm like,
well, this thing's about to explode. This thing's about to explode. Oh god, this is happening over here. Force lightning's happening. Like sky lightning. Like, I mean, all the lightning, and you're running everywhere. Oh god, you're so right though.
Yeah, and really the whole thing feels like an apology more than a finale, and it undoes way more than it tries to resolve. And I understand that it was well, I mean, Disney was in a spot, right? They're like, oh crap, what do we do at the end of Last Jedi? Like, because that one undid a lot from, well, it didn't undo, but it just kind of left The Force Awakens in a weird spot now. It's just like, well, crap, now where do we go?
Yeah.
But, and then,
I mean,
then they just dug a deeper hole. Well, with Last Jedi, they hit rock bottom, and then they decided to dig deeper with Rise of Skywalker. And I don't, it would have been really cool. Now, total sidecar, but it would have been really cool if like Palpatine returned, right? Like, that's cool. Awesome. How cool would it have been if Anakin Skywalker freaking returned? Because like, why not?
They burned the hell out of his body, though.
And
that overshadows, it overshadows the characters that you're trying to establish
fine, so did Palpatine
in the current movies.
Right.
Well,
100%.
I don't disagree.
No.
It made Kylo Ren less effective. And I think that's kind of the overall take, and we touched on this earlier, is like, how did they not map this out going in? That doesn't mean you have to know every single beat, but like, I mean, the obvious comparison is to Marvel, and how you have a guy like Kevin Feige who says, okay, we're going to do all these movies, but we know we want to end up here. Like the Infinity Saga is leading up to fighting Thanos. We don't know every single beat along the way. We're going to let, each director that comes in to do their thing, like tell your story, but we need this character to end up here. You can fill in the blanks however you want.
Well, yeah.
I think, like, how do they not have some, whether it's, Dave Filoni or whoever, just say like, okay, we want to establish Rey as like the new, Luke figure at the end of this. Let's get her there.
Getting Dave involved would have been amazing.
Amazing.
Well, and I think the course correction that they're on now is letting
him
Dave
run with it,
and Jon Favreau just cook.
Just like, you know what, you guys make good stuff. We'll let you play.
Yeah, I mean, they make. And I'm not to say that everything they've done has been
For sure.
a smash. It hasn't, but I think the floor is raised in what they do, and like there's definitely a level of care and attention to detail, and nobody knows this universe like Dave Filoni does. So that's what makes me excited for not just Mandalorian and Grogu, but like leading into whatever the crossover movie is with Thrawn as the bad guy. Like, I have total confidence in that, like, because he knows that backstory, like having done Rebels, that's going to be great. But the point being is that it's going to have an identity going into it, and the sequel trilogy, how did they not just at least have an outline? It makes no sense. Like, and it's the same company that's doing the MCU,
right?
And you see why that worked. Like, why not just try to copy as much of that as you can?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. But yeah, I mean, this movie is slightly above Last Jedi for me, slightly above.
Okay. So I have a couple of notes that I'm just going to touch on super quickly, because we need to get to our ranking from 11 to 1.
He's rolling his sleeves up.
Yep. So how come nobody in the universe can pronounce Millennium Falcon or Falcon correctly? Look, what's the actual pronunciation of this word?
Falcon.
Is it Millennium Falcon or Millennium Falcon?
Falcon.
Well, I think the stronger your British accent is, it's Falcon.
Millennium Falcon. Okay, fair enough. It just feels weird that like people and like Han and Han, having the two different names. Like I know that it's definitely Han, but I know that that Billy D. Williams loved saying Han, and then they wrote it into Solo to make it like an actual dig at him a little bit, which was cool. The Rey Palpatine thing, yeah. I mean, big whiff on that one. That felt weird. I do agree with Tyler that that her being a nobody did work for me once I got over the fact that I wanted to know who she was or who her parents were. But then I was like, wait, okay, she's not a her parents are nobody, and Kylo was just like, yeah, remember that vision I had before of your parents being nobodies? Well, that actually wasn't true. I actually just found this guy.
And they brushed off like they were nobodies, but they chose to be. It's like, okay,
no,
like, what?
It's not how that works.
Yeah, I don't know how that
works at all. No, it's not how that works at all. A couple things that definitely worked for me. The one moment in all three of these movies that got me to tear up was my boy Chewbacca finally getting his friggin' medal. Fortunately, there was no fanfare. She literally was like, "Here's your medal," and then they went on to the next thing because that's exactly what this movie was.
Yeah, presumably that was somebody else's medal, so he's getting it like secondhand.
No, somebody probably who was dead. They were like, "We're going to give you." Yeah,
it was Han's or
Why all of a sudden? I was very happy for it because I was like, "Oh, it's so cool!" And then shoehorning in so many different cameos, voiceovers. Like if you watch it with captions on, you can see all of the different people, and it's almost every single Jedi that
Obi-Wan
ever existed. Like all in there.
Can I just say,
she's the Force? That's why.
She did become
all
the Jedi. She became all the Jedi.
I mean, there are some deep cuts in there. Ayla Secura. I mean, Kanan Jarrus. Like when Kanan pops up, it's like that. Yes,
I love
that. That's what it's supposed to be. Of course, Yoda. I like that they had both young and old Obi-Wan.
Yes,
which was really cool. And they like basically cut lines from Alec Guinness and then like sort of redid it. Which I think, like, I don't love that you're going to go down that road, but like if you're going to do it, like that's probably the right way to do it.
Right.
Sure.
Like this movie was such a bad dumpster fire. Like I just grabbed marshmallows and decided to have a good campfire. Like that's what I did. I just enjoyed it.
I mean, it's that kind of movie for sure. But having all of that happen and him being like, "I am the Sith," and her being like, "I've got a second lightsaber. I am the Jedi," and then she just melts him with his own lightning. I'm like, what?
Just you think
happened?
You would have learned that lesson already?
No. He didn't learn
like
anything
Yoda did it
from being,
never mind.
Okay, and also explain to me, were there thousands of acolytes just like that got wiped out from the lightning bolt thing explosion? Because there was like at the end of that movie, there's a crowd that's around, and they just all legitimately just disappear. Like they get wiped out when she's doing the lightsaber thing, and then she melts him. Everybody else explodes too. It's like,
I think those are like spirit representations of all the former Sith.
Yep.
So I don't think they're actually there.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
That was my interpretation.
Yeah. They're
so sure. Now we have spirit Sith. It's fabulous.
Yep. That's how I mean,
it's just
I'm not saying it's a good answer.
No, I know.
I'm just saying that's my interpretation.
No, I know.
That's what it was.
The one thing I can say that I did enjoy at the end, which caused me to kind of do a little bit of like looking it up, was the yellow lightsaber. How her final lightsaber that she constructed was yellow, and that's the significance of that is undergoing significant transformation or assuming unique roles, where she became Rey Skywalker.
That color used to, in the days of the Jedi Order and the Old Republic, were the Temple Guardians.
Yep.
Which makes sense since she has the Jedi text.
Yeah, so she is basically the
Temple
Guardian now.
Yep,
she is. What happened here? Okay,
it's still trash.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. It's hard to.
Polished turd is still a turd.
Polished turd is still a turd. Okay, so
and it is. It's just
we've wrapped
trash.
up. We've wrapped up
one
the
That's the best one.
This final trilogy.
Which one?
This one.
That one. The big
that
poster right there. My Force Awakens poster.
Oh, of the
That's
trilogy?
the best.
100%. Yeah. Without a question.
Let's see how we do with this then. My rankings are all over the place right now, so I'm gonna while we go through, I'm gonna have to move some around because I think one of them has gotten to the wrong place.
Okay.
So, starting with number 11, Tyler.
And Charlie, you asked us to have just a one sentence explanation for why it's ranked where we have it.
Yep.
So for number 11, I have Attack of the Clones. What could have been an important chapter for the saga's lore struggles with execution, pacing, and character chemistry, to say the least.
Okay. Caleb.
Number 11, The Last Jedi. A film so focused on subverting expectations it forgets to honor the characters it inherited.
Okay. Number 11, Attack of the Clones. A 2-hour HR violation where a galaxy-wide conspiracy is ignored because everyone is too distracted by Anakin's aggressive inability to flirt and his inexplicable hatred of sand.
I mean, I think you can explain his hatred of sand growing up on Tatooine.
Sure.
It's so funny.
Sure, but he really it's not inexplicable, but it's real
I don't know
bad,
why it's
though.
important, but yeah.
It's
It
very
wasn't
important.
relevant in that moment, that's for sure.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 10 is The Phantom Menace. It's somewhat visually inventive, but mostly unnecessary to the overall story.
My number 10 is also The Phantom Menace. A great world building weighed down by tonal confusion and one character who never leaves the screen.
Okay. My number 10 is Rise of Skywalker. A 2-hour galactic scavenger hunt that attempts to fix its predecessor's homework by introducing somehow as a valid scientific explanation for Palpatine's return and turning the Force into a long-distance FaceTime app.
It's so funny. It's so true.
That's pretty good.
That's great.
Okay. My number 9 is The Rise of Skywalker. It's fast, emotional, and occasionally thrilling, but it's weighed down by overcorrection and narrative whiplash.
My number 9 is also The Rise of Skywalker, a movie sprinting at full speed, desperately trying to fix the problems it didn't create.
My number 9 is Revenge of the Sith. Anakin becomes Vader. That's it.
That's the sentence. Okay,
That's it.
Great.
That's the sentence. That's how I felt about that movie.
It wasn't Younglings. It was Anakin becomes Vader. Okay, whatever.
Anakin becomes Vader.
Or it's just the gif of Vader screaming no. That's what it should be. All right. My number 8 is Revenge of the Sith. A story with massive emotional potential, weighed down by stiff dialogue, rushed character turns, and a tragic arc that works more in concept than execution.
My number 8 is Attack of the Clones. Important plot points buried underneath awkward dialogue and questionable romantic choices.
Mm-hmm. All right. Just taking some notes here. All right. My number 8 is episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A small town kid wins a high stakes drag race and gets kidnapped by space monks, while a guy with face paint and a double-sided glow stick gets cut in half because he didn't realize the guy at the bottom of the pit could jump really high.
I guess you don't need the high ground.
You don't. It's so funny, too, because you did. I guess you didn't need the high ground.
I know.
It's so, like, they retcon the high ground thing, like,
yeah.
because he literally does the same. He should have been killed. By the logic of episode 3, he should have been killed in episode 1, and then everything should have just been, boop, that was it.
Yep. Then there's no story.
There's no story.
All right. My number 7 is Solo. It's a fun, charming space adventure that suffers mainly from being unnecessary rather than being bad.
My number 7, The Force Awakens. Fun and familiar, but it's basically A New Hope wearing a new pair of sneakers. Hope you didn't notice.
I noticed. Number 7 for me, also The Force Awakens. High stakes nostalgia with a charismatic new generation of heroes and 100% more BB-8.
Yeah, how do we not mention BB-8 at all? BB-8 rocks.
Literally, he's the best. This is why I have him.
He's
hanging out right here.
Orange and white.
He's just chilling.
Orange and white.
I can't make him work right now. But
all right. My number 6 is Rogue One. A gritty, war-focused story elevated by its final act, not the Vader scene, even if its characters don't all fully land.
My number 6, Return of the Jedi. Imperfect, but powerful, anchored by a redemption arc that lands with an emotional payoff.
Okay. My number 6, Solo. A guy gets his last name from a border agent, makes friends with a walking carpet in a mud pit, and breaks a speed record in a fancy van just to get ghosted by his childhood crush.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
That's brutally accurate. What did Han ever do to you? Okay.
Nothing, especially not in that movie.
Zynga.
Number 5, The Last Jedi. It's bold, thoughtful, and thematically ambitious, rewarding viewers willing to engage with its challenges to the saga's mythology.
Number 5, Solo, a Star Wars story. An underrated, low-stakes adventure that was way more fun than its reputation suggests.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just don't think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, just don't think about it.
Just don't think about it.
So we're still on number 5, right?
Yep.
Number 5, The Last Jedi. An old hermit refuses to help a girl because he's busy milking sea cows while a slow-motion car chase in space happens and a guy gets killed by his own chair-turning skills.
Milking sea cows?
That's correct. Sea cows.
Oh, my goodness. Perfect. Oh, man.
Number 4, Return of the Jedi. A satisfying and emotionally rich conclusion that lands its themes of redemption, even if parts are a little uneven.
All right. Number 4, Rogue One, a movie where everyone dies and somehow makes a saga better, proving sacrifice actually matters.
Okay.
If only we cared about them.
And number 4?
I mean, you got a point.
And number 4 for me is Rogue One. A woman with daddy issues and her ragtag friends go on a one-way beach trip to steal a PDF, just so a guy in a black suit can have a very productive workout in a dark hallway. Figured you like that one.
All right. Man. Number 3, The Force Awakens. A confident, crowd-pleasing revival that reintroduced Star Wars with heart, energy, and iconic new characters.
Yeah. Number 3, A New Hope. Simple, classic Star Wars that works so well, it launched a cultural phenomenon with a farm boy optimism.
I'm also going to talk about a farm boy in Star Wars for number 3. Farm boy buys 2 used robots, watches his foster parents get turned into charcoal, and leaves home with a magic hobo to blow up a giant metal moon using nothing but feelings and a lucky shot.
You're right.
Now, it's the original. Hard to disagree with Caleb on that one too. So number 2, Tyler,
is A New Hope. It's a near flawless introduction to a galaxy that feels lived in, adventurous, and endlessly rewatchable.
Number 2, The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, God, that means I know what you have number 1. Oh, my God.
Me too. Oh, my God. It's the gold standard for sequels, emotionally wrecking audiences while confidently expanding a story.
Okay. Number 2 for me, Return of the Jedi. A group of teddy bears with sticks defeat a high-tech army while a golden robot becomes a god, and a son tries to convince his dad to stop being a bully in front of a wrinkly old man in a bathrobe.
It's accurate.
Yeah. All right. And number 1 is, of course, The Empire Strikes Back. It's the perfect blend of character depth, world building, and emotional weight that defines what Star Wars can be at its absolute best.
Number 1, Revenge of the Sith. This is Star Wars at its most tragic, where bad decisions pile up faster than unpaid parking tickets. It's great.
Like your bad decision to put it at number 1.
Yeah,
number 1
it's
for
great.
me is Empire. A guy gets frostbite, hallucinates his dead teacher, and goes to a swamp to play piggyback with a green puppet, only to find out his dad is the CEO of the company he's trying to take down.
Seagulls.
Okay.
Stop it now.
Well, whether you think the sequels are a masterpiece of modern cinema or a somehow too many, one thing is for certain. They've given us some of the most immersive experiences in the Disney parks today. From the sights and sounds of Batuu to the literal weight of a lightsaber in your hand at Savi's, the legacy of these films is alive and well every time we step into Galaxy's Edge. Pull it out, Caleb. At the end of the day,
stop it.
we're just three dads who love a good story. And more importantly, we love sharing these stories with our kids. Whether it's watching The Force Awakens for the 10th time on the couch or seeing your kid's face light up when they see Kylo Ren marching through Hollywood studios, those are the moments that stick. If today's episode has you itching to live out your own Star Wars adventure, or you just need to know which Disney resort has the best pool for a post-park recharge, we are here to help. You can find the link in the notes below, and we specialize in taking the stress out of the planning so you can focus on that magic. Thanks for hanging out with us today in a galaxy far, far away. For Tyler and Caleb, I'm Charlie with the Grim Grinning Dads, and until next time, may the Force be with you. Be sure to join us next time when the dads come out to socialize.